Hello to everybody and good morning if you are watching the premiere. My name is Mrs. Best and we are here to go over Ladies of London, New Reign. This is season 4, episode 4 that was titled Naked Truths. Y'all, this episode was a lot, but it definitely shows me that the show has some potential. It does have some potential. I am entertained. I did watch the original Ladies of London and I was never... like, I watched it if I had nothing else to watch. This one, I'm actually invested and more entertained. It's getting better with each episode. So I am happy about that. But I want to give a hello to everybody who is watching the video. I do appreciate you. If you are new to the channel, please do consider liking the video. If you enjoy what we do, if you like a lot of what we do, consider subscribing to the channel and you are definitely appreciated. We welcome everybody in. You guys, I am also going to be encouraging people, as always, to tap into the description of this video. There are lots of links to my regular co-host James from Watch Your Mouth Reviews, as well as other great talented Black creators such as Kiwan J TV, Sandra P, Gen X, JB Says What. So tap in, support everybody. It is not easy to do what we do on these YouTube streets. Let's get into the episode before my allergies go crazy again, because the Bay Area weather is crazy and I'm sneezing. I'm everywhere. I'm gonna have to go get me a prescription. But we're gonna start the episode with Lottie, who is pregnant. She is our pregnant Lady of London, and she and her husband Joshua are going to shop. I was happy to see that he's involved because I'm like, they introduced them together, like almost as if Joshua is gonna be more a part of the cast than other husbands, but then we didn't see much of him. So we see them going shopping and they're discussing her push present and all of these things. And I thought they were sweet together. They're kind of a cute couple. I could see why things move so fast with them. They seem to get along well, but there seems to be, I don't know how to describe it. I guess you would describe it as like that barrier that is broken where you're just comfortable with your partner versus trying to impress them and stuff. Like, Lottie and Joshua just vibe together. I like them as a couple thus far, but we didn't get much. But he doesn't seem like he doesn't give that he's a giant red flag is what I'm saying. He seems to love her and the love seems mutual. But she and her husband discuss the winery event and the things that Miss Kimmy said. And it was funny because Lottie was like, well, Kimmy was very British about the whole thing. Like, because typically the British are less inclined to get deep into their emotions. And they did kind of make jokes at the beginning of the show too. Like, the Americans are so quick to tell you how we feel, get into our emotions, dig down. So they were like, it's crazy because Kimmy's not a Brit, but you would think that she was with her, her reaction. I said, well, she's been in London 25 years. Hell, maybe being in London has changed Kimmy, because Kimmy sure did not care. Or Kimmy's probably been through some stuff and she's like, pish posh, this is nothing. Either way, my personal opinion is, though Kimmy is entitled to feel how she feels, you don't have to share every feeling you have, Kimmy. And I just don't feel like that was the appropriate thing for her to share. But moving forward, because nothing much happened with Lottie and Joshua, we're going to discuss Margot and Micah meeting up. Now, Margot threw some shade at Micah when she was feeding her baby olives at the park, but then now she's hanging out with Micah. Margot is somebody I keep commenting on, you guys, because I'm starting to think she's like really messy, like just classically American messy. And she hangs out with Margot. We do get to finally learn more about Margot's background, other than the fact that she's moved back to the UK, is married, and has a child now. So her husband is Lebanese Armenian, and apparently he did not want to marry her. Now, it sounds like they were in a relationship. They were obviously sleeping together. But the way that Margot described it is she got pregnant and she looked at old boy and was like, no, you need to marry me. I'm not just about to be a baby mama. That's what Margot said. And they got married in the chapel. And I'm like, y'all making my braids itch. Like, what? Huh? That's how you got married? There is nothing wrong with being a baby mama. Let me tell you this. I don't refer to women as baby mamas unless, no shade, they act like a ratchet ass baby mama. Other than that, they're just single parents. They're just single parents. Like, and there's nothing wrong with being a single parent. Sometimes things happen and you might get pregnant and you might not have a ring. Just because you get pregnant doesn't mean you have to run to the ring. You know, don't you want to know, and don't you want your child to know that they dad like wanted you and all of this beyond any shadow of a doubt, versus them just marrying you because you got knocked up? But okay, Margot, I guess if you like it, we love it. But they end up discussing the winery, and Margot explains to Micah that Kimmy had an issue with how Missy was sharing. And Margot expresses to Micah that Missy needs to know that it's not safe for her to share personal things when around Kimmy. And I'm kind of like, you know, I know a lot of people would look at it and maybe think, oh, well, Margot's not messy, Mrs. Best, because she wants to make people aware of what was said. That's messy. If it's not your business, why are you in it? Your name should be Bennett and you should not be in it. Like, it doesn't make sense that Margot's putting herself in the center of all of this. And I also felt the same way about Missy in the episodes with the whole Dara situation. But Missy wasn't like trying to harm or make something worse. I kind of feel like Margot is, because she shared like parts of it that she didn't have to share. Like, she could have just left it there, but she was like, no, she was talking about how the situation is a sob story, and she was alluding to the drugs and all of this crazy stuff. And I'm like, you didn't have to say all of that. You could have just said she was uncomfortable and had an issue. I think they should talk. That wouldn't have come off messy. But the way that Margot explained it, and then the fact that she's explaining it to Micah versus explaining it to Missy, I don't understand that part. That's the part for me that makes it like, okay, you being messy, wench, and you need to figure it out. But we gonna see. We gonna see. Now, at the same time that this is happening, we see Missy is in her apartment talking to her sister. Her sister's married to, oh, I did not catch it. I think she said her sister is married to a soccer player. And so her sister travels a lot. She's excited for her sister to be coming in the next coming weeks to London. And when her sister comes, they're going to consider visiting the brother's grave. I guess this is something that Missy has not done yet. Let me know how you guys feel about that, because it is like, the more that Missy talks about this brother on camera, while I do empathize with her, it is starting to look like she's talking about it for attention in the way that relates to a storyline. She doesn't have any man that she could show us that she's dating right now. She brought it up at a random time. Like, I didn't agree with how Kimmy discussed it, but I did agree with Kimmy in the sentiment, like, I'm not bringing up the death of somebody at a table when we're just out on a weekend, you know, trying to have a fun time with friends. Like, I don't feel like that was the forum. And it's weird because it's like, okay, the scene with her calling her sister, like, I get that it bothers you, but go to therapy. What have you done off camera to get help? Maybe there'll be a reunion and they'll explain it. But I do see some of why Kimmy felt the way she felt, if that makes sense. But we got to move forward, beautiful people, to seeing Mark's home. Mark, I think his name's Mark Francis. The name is hyphenated, but Mark's home is beautiful. It looked like a museum. It really did look like a museum of art. It looked like the MoMA in San Francisco. It was beautiful. And I was like, I love an uppity gay with class. I just love it. Mark is everything. I do enjoy him. But he meets with Emma. He and Emma are very close. He's the godfather to one of her children. And we learned some more about Emma, and she has some serious health concerns. So Emma tells a story of when she was pregnant with her son. She started to get constant headaches, and she learned that she has a pituitary cyst. Sounds like something to do with her pituitary gland. And it's considerably grown. She had a recent full body scan and has to get scans quite often. And she is afraid for her health. She's afraid she won't be there for her children because of this cyst. You know, I respect her for filming this show, but maybe she doesn't need to. And right now, I'm not really seeing where she fits in, aside from being a it girl in London and connected to the royals or however their governmental structure works out there. Like, she's well connected, but outside of being well connected, she doesn't give much. She doesn't. And I'm not sure if they just wanted to have like a token black chick, but we got Kimmy and Micah, who are both mixed with a little bit of chocolate in the blood. So why? I don't know. I just don't see Emma's purpose here. And then if she has health issues, I want her to address those. I do. Because Emma does seem nice and like she could put on some amazingly grand events at some point throughout the seasons. But right now, I'm not seeing her purpose. And the same with Mark Francis. He's fun. Like, Mark is fun, but I'm not, aside from Emma and Mark getting along with everyone, being the glue, being truly elite, I'm not entertained. I'm not entertained. I'm just not as of yet. But I do appreciate their friendship. I appreciate Mark as a friend in general. Whenever any of these ladies need him on the show, thus far, he is so supportive of all of his friends. So I do give him that. But outside of that, y'all, I'm not too entertained. But we're going to move it along because we see Margot go to see Missy. And Margot tells Missy what Kimmy said about her. And pretty much all that comes of this scene, Missy is pissed. She says she's going to address Kimmy about the statement she made about her comments on her brother's death. And I'm looking at Margot like, are you happy? Because I want to dig into that marriage. Margot's in everybody else's business. But the reality of it is, you got married. You forced your man into marrying you because you got knocked up. Now you're trying to move to the UK, but it sounds like your man and your family don't want to be there. So I feel like Margot's one of those people who's like miserable right now, even though she has it, and maybe misery loves company. I don't know. But Margot is definitely working for her check. But I'm just like, girl, you so wrapped up in everything. Like, take a step back, relax. But Martha was also happy to spread the Dara rumor. So I kind of feel like Martha and Margot are just messy. It's just what they do. And if that's what they do, then that's what they do. Be unapologetically you, boos. Give us a show. I'm not mad. Now, we then get to Kimmy's art event. And Kimmy's art event was a cool event. I guess it's in a trendy upscale art neighborhood in London that's popular. They go to a place called Belham. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But they draw a naked man, and Kimmy made that man spin around, and she looked at what she had to work with before. And I do mean before they even the ladies even came in, but it looked like a fun event. Kimmy was like, I just want to have a fun time without anybody bringing up any doggone sad stories. So after the event, they all draw. They ended up picking a winner for who drew the best picture. Who I believe, was it Martha? It was Martha. Lottie went to art school, but they wasn't giving it to Lottie. Lottie's already pregnant. She's probably getting a lot of gifts right now. Let her be. But we get to what really happened in this scene, and Missy pulls Kimmy aside to talk after they do their art, and everyone's just socializing. And Missy tells her she heard that she was talking about her, and Kimmy says, do you think that it was appropriate to bring up a story like that was so dark at a winery? And Missy asked her after so long, she's like, yes, I think it was appropriate, but why did you have to allude to drugs and other things being the reason for his death? And she explains that that was a bigger problem. Kimmy pretty much tells Missy that her telling that story about her brother's death started a chain reactions of sad stories that she was not in the mood to hear. I'm not gonna lie, Kimmy was funny. Kimmy was funny. I couldn't even fully be mad at Kimmy because she was funny. If she would have said it and then denied it, or the whole time was like, no, I didn't mean it that way, I would have been annoyed with Kimmy. But Kimmy said it, and then she stood on it. She said to them, I said what I said. I feel how I feel, and y'all not finna change my mind. And I was kind of here for it. I like that. I wish more people would do that. So Kimmy stood in it. Of course, Missy did not like this. And then she starts mentioning Margot and how Margot was right there and reported it. And then Margot comes over because as soon as Margot was mentioned, Kimmy said, well, fuck Margot. I hollered. because she was so quick to say it. Because I think Kimmy has peeped on, like, Margot is messy, y'all. We could like Margot. And I feel like Margot enjoys the mess. She is sober and messy as can be. And I'm here for it because give us a show. Give me a reason to come on YouTube, please. I'm totally okay with it. But Margot comes over there and she ends up getting into it with Kimmy. And Margot kind of read Kimmy for filth just a little bit. She told her she was a pint-sized Popeye. I said, oh, not the pint-sized Popeye. Because Margot had a point, like, even though Margot's being messy because this has nothing to do with her and she didn't have to spread any of this, she was right there and she did not relay the message incorrectly. She didn't paint it out to be worse than it actually was. She was pretty fair in how she explained what happened. I can't get mad at her. I just cannot. But, child, something Kimmy connected that made a lot of sense to me. In her confessional, she was like, this is exactly what Margot wants. You see how she went from the Dara rumors to this. She likes to spread up the pot and start mess and stir things with everybody else. So Missy ends up getting fed up in the interaction because Kimmy is effectively arguing both of them back to back, literally, with not a problem in the world. That lady was around Black people. Y'all don't want to come for Kimmy. Okay? Leave Kimmy alone. She's Haitian. Okay? Don't come for Kimmy unless she sent for you. That's what I saw. Because she had Margot on one side of her and she had Missy on the other side. And Kimmy was somehow in two arguments at the same time and holding her own. So I know I should be ethical, which I will be. Like, Kimmy's comments about the death of Missy's brother were distasteful. They definitely were, and uncouth and uncalled for. However, some points that Kimmy did have. Why did you bring that up at a table if it's so hard for you to talk about? And then Missy continued to bring it up, and it looks like she's going to try and visit the grave on camera. That's what I feel is going to happen. So I do see some of what Kimmy is saying, but she handled her own. That's who we want on reality TV. She was back and forth checking both bitches. Like, I don't care. I said it. What you gonna do? That's basically what Kimmy was doing, back to back, ping ponging it. And I was okay with it. But Missy got fed up with Kimmy and told her, you know what, Kimmy? You're jealous. I was cracking the hell up. And she gets up and walked away. Because I'm like, jealous of what? What is she jealous of? Y'all are literally in the same boat. The only difference is Missy is fully single, but y'all are in the same boat. You both ain't got a man. You both got some kids. You both live on your own. You both in this group. You both on TV. You both cute. What we doing? Like, I can't understand the jealousy thing. But I feel like Missy's truly really sweet and probably not confrontational. And that's probably the best that old girl could come up with, if we're being honest. But Kimmy does eventually go back outside and explains to Missy, she was like, I had no intention of hurting you. And she did try to apologize. But in her apology, she's like, but I'm entitled to feel how I feel. And I feel that it was dark and I don't have to like dark things. And Missy was offended because she feels like she's calling the death of her brother dark. The death of anybody is dark. It's not a happy thing. So I do feel like, Missy, you got your apology. Accept it. Move on. You don't have to be her friend. But it feels like Missy's going to keep this going and going and going. I also have a feeling that even if Missy does get to a point of wanting to let this go, I feel like Margot will not let it die. I'm starting to see how Margot moves, and I don't think Margot will let it die at all. I just can't see it happening. But that is my review of Naked Truth Season 4, Episode 4 of Ladies of London. I am enjoying the season. We will continue to cover this show. I do hope that everybody that stops by considers liking the video. Hope that if you're new here, check out some of our other videos. Maybe you'll like enough of the content to consider subscribing. I do thank everybody for being here. We will have some more content on Saturday, March the 21st. I will have my Dirty Rotten Scandals, The Price is Right review up. So I look forward to getting that out there for you guys. We will also have a live tonight, this Friday, March the 20th at 6 p.m. with Watch Your Mouth reviews to go over the latest episode of The Housewives of Beverly Hills. Also, do not forget, you guys, to see the links in the description to tap in with our Black creators that are out there on YouTube. Other than that, I hope everybody has a really, really, really good day. And I will see you on my next reviews. Au revoir.